And when I got in the dressing room, I like fell and slid across the floor. Oh, are you okay? And I literally was like, the show must go on. You know?
The family frequency. Oh.
Turn into the frequency.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Family Frequency Podcast, where we tune into the rhythm of life, and the only vibration is elevation. I'm your host, FYUTCH, the pops, the artist, and I'm here with my daughter,
Aura V.
throw the peace sign up. Aura, you look good. I like this outfit. You look like an R&B artist, like Faith Evans or something. You know when they be doing them videos in the snow. Do your arms like this, like do that. What you got? You got to put a little vibe on. You got some Mary J. That's like a Mary J outfit right now. What? You don't know who those are you?
No.
I got to introduce her to these classics. That's my fault. Anyway, speaking of singers, we have one of my really good friends on the podcast today. Her name is Jazzy Ash, and her real name is Ashli St. Armant. Now, do you know who she is?
Did she make Teddy Bear, Teddy Bear?
She did. Her song, Teddy Bear, Turn Around. She did a version of that song that I like to play at all of my shows. And I want to ask you, she has a lot of good bops. Be Outside. We're going to be outside. She has some good high energy songs. What of our songs? What do you think is some of our most high energy songs when we perform them live?
Probably My Daddy.
Yup. That one goes hard, for real.
And definitely I'm Love, I'm Like remix.
Gotta listen to the remix because it's Jersey Club. It's dancing, it's hype, it's hot.
I even do the sturdy.
You get sturdy?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Count It Up?
Count It Up? Yeah. We only performed Count It Up once though. So we should definitely perform it at our next shows and then in the past.
She's getting on a tangent. All right. So the cool thing about my friend Ashli is that she does so many things as an artist. She writes books. She writes songs. She performs. She wrote a musical. I'm sure there's other talent she has that we don't even know about. So I think that's the cool thing that I want you to see. The cool thing about being an artist or being a human, you get to do so many different things. You don't have to just do one thing. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, it seemed like, my parents or my elders or folks that I knew, it was like you had one job that was your main thing. Maybe you had a hobby or something with it, or maybe you didn't. But times are changing in which you can have multiple hobbies. You can have multiple jobs if you want to. So what I want you to talk about, what are your talents and your interests that make you excited that you would want to do for your life?
What I want to do when I want to grow up is I want to continue being a singer, and also I actually know how to play violin, so I actually really want to be a violin player.
Okay.
When I grow up.
Okay. And you told me a little something about chef. You want to be a little chef too?
Oh, yeah. I would have a restaurant called Aura's Egos.
Aura's Egos. They might sue you because of that. Because we already got Lego My Ego. I don't know if you can have that name.
Lego My Ego? What?
Oh, my God. Cue the clip. Anyway, you got so many talents, Aura. So that's why I'm excited to introduce you and introduce our audience to some of our amazing friends that already do so many different things. But the book Viva Durant that Ashli St. Armant wrote, she's a little private investigator. She solves mysteries. What I want to know, what kind of mystery do you want to solve?
This is a hard one.
Okay.
I was thinking about one doing a banana, but it's probably a little bit too simple.
Solving a banana mystery?
It's probably too simple.
Look, it's your world, baby girl. If you want to solve the case of the missing banana, that's all. Okay. All right, that's not where I thought that was going at all, but this is what happens when you interview a 7-year-old. Okay, so besides that, I'm really excited for the interview, but I think we should do a song of the week.
Song of the week?
Yeah, let's get some words. What kind of words? Let's think of some words. Think of a couple words, and we'll make a song about it.
My M&Ms.
My M&Ms. This child. Okay, we got my M&Ms. What else?
Are the best.
You're making us. Give me words to rap and to say in a song that we can use.
M&M's,
Okay, we got M&M's.
Chipotle.
This child is hungry. Has she had her lunch, dinner? What time is you hungry?
I'm so hungry, and it's already
It's late.
wow 2 p.m. I haven't even had lunch,
Oh,
and I barely had any breakfast.
this is not child labor. This is not what it looks like. This child, she is well fed and clothed and looking like an R&B singer. Look, it's okay. She eats. She goes to school. This is okay. So we got a couple words. Give me a beat, or give me a beat.
All right.
I'm on an island. It's not like I'm stranded. If I could bring something, I would bring some candy. Maybe a Twix. Tell me what's next. Mix it up with lots of peanuts with my checks. Who am I bringing? No one, not him or her, or him or him or him. Add me some M&Ms, some candy in the mix, and it's not Halloween. I'm feeling super fly, and you're not quite a teen. You're just a little girl. We're rapping to the beat. We got my friend Jazzy Ash on to interview this week on the family frequency. We keep it so fly. My young R&B singer about to take you high. Let's go. How was that?
That was good.
Anyway, we're gonna get started with our guest this week. Y'all stay tuned. Jazzy Ash is logging on right now. You ready?
Yeah.
What's up, Ashli?
What's up, y'all? What's up, Laura V? What's up, FYUTCH?
Welcome to the Family Frequency Podcast. We're so honored to have you. This is your first time meeting the amazing Miss Armant as well, Miss Saint Armant, correct? Yeah?
Yeah.
I don't remember how we first met, but I do recall a very fun time when we was chilling in New York. It was me, you, Lucy Calentari, and we was having a ball. We was doing the most random things, and
Yeah, trying on clothes in random stores.
right, just running in, trying on hats, all that. And I think
Wait, that was the first time we met in person. We talked on Zoom a couple of times.
So it was.
But that was the first time we met in person, and it was like we were already family. We were like, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
And that's the thing that stands out to me. Like, you are genuinely a fun person. Like, you're fun to be around. And I want to know, what kind of kid were you? You know, is that consistent? Were you always like this?
Was I always extra? Yes, I've always been extra. I was just actually thinking about a photograph that I have on my Venmo. It's a picture of me when I was like probably 5 or 6, and I have these 2 big ponytails. And the look on my face is like I'm up to no good, but I'm cute, you know. I think that was always that kind of kid. I mean, nowadays we call it ADHD. I didn't find out I had ADHD till I was 30. But my entire childhood, looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. My mom says I came out of the womb singing, and I was like tap dancing down the aisles of the grocery store. Like, my mom had to pull me back from getting in other people's cars. I'd be like, hey, have you met my mom? Do you know this song? I love musicals. Do you? Like, I was just always like doing the most. But now, I should say that when I was a kid, I used to be embarrassed because I think I thought I was a weirdo, you know, because I was like into musical theater, singing all the time, like into music other people weren't into, listening to jazz, writing songs, writing poetry since I was like in 4th grade. But now I'm proud of being a weirdo, and I've always been this weirdo, yeah.
So you've claimed it. You've owned it.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So I basically want to know, like, what creativity outlet do you think was first for you? You mentioned the singing. Do you think that literally was the genesis of your creativity?
Yeah, I've always, like I said, I've always been singing. Always. Making up new verses to songs on the radio, you know, and poetry. I started writing poetry really, really young. And performing poetry. Actually, the first thing I did publicly was perform a poem for a funeral. My neighbor passed away, and I wrote a poem for him and read it at his funeral. And I think since then, I just always was interested in performance. And then late elementary school, probably like 5th grade, I started doing musical theater. So my first musical theater was early for me. I did a musical called Here's Love, which is like the musical version of Miracle on 31st Street. Mm-hmm. And I played like 6 different roles. I was like Santa's little helper dancer with like my heels on, and then I was like some kind of clown, and I was just like ripping and running. And I remember the backstage was outside, so it was raining on one of the nights, so I had to like leave the stage and run around and come back through the other entrance and come in a different costume. And I was like in 5th grade, right? So I'm doing this and I had it down, but then it was raining. So I was like coming out of a Santa's little helper, like can girl dancer outfit into a clown outfit. And I'm trying to change and my feet are getting wet. And when I got in the dressing room, I like fell and slid across the floor. And my mom was volunteering and she was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I literally was like, "The show must go on." You know? And like,
leave it all on the stage, like from day one. That's what's up.
And I was all bruised and everything, but like I was like, "Oh, I did it for the theater," you know.
So
that's like how I've always been. Yeah.
So a performer through and through, and I'm excited because one, I think that's relatable. There's a lot of overlap with Aura in a lot of ways of how she is, because a lot of people will always ask me like, "How you get her to do that stuff? Why does she?" I'm like, Aura, that's all you. What are your earliest memories, Aura, of creativity, being creative, being artistic in your life that you recall in your 7 long years of living?
Probably starting when I was 2.
When you was 2?
Yeah.
What were you
Tell
doing?
us about it. Yeah.
So I was like coloring, drawing, and like scribbling and doing all those stuff. And then I remember this picture that I drew. It was a really good memory that I drew this jellyfish. I kept it.
And you were like, "This is art."
Yes.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I must keep it. But then suddenly it went missing, and I'm like,
I hope that wasn't on me. I didn't know.
Whoa.
You had so much
got
art.
deep real quick.
It was everywhere. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
I don't even know. That might have just floated in the wind. It could have just swum.
We'll have to talk about that later. It did swim away because it was a realistic octopus.
How does a piece of paper come to life?
That's the magic of art.
And that's a whole nother story right there. That's a story idea right there.
Yeah, that is. I like it. See, we're still making art right now.
We are.
It's kind of like a story, the magic paintbrush. It's kind of like that one.
I don't know.
Oh, or isn't there one about the purple crayon?
Harold and the
into a
Purple
movie.
Crayon, yes.
Yeah, right. Oh, Harold and the Purple Crayon. That's what's up.
So
I didn't even think of that.
That was my book when I was a kid, and now it has a movie. And
it's been around that long?
yeah, it's been around.
Oh, I never even heard of it.
What?
So like a year ago.
Oh, see, I thought you were saying it from like you grew up remembering Harold and the. You just know from the movie.
Hold on. I love children's books. I'm obsessed. I have a whole collection of children's books. That's just one that kind of slipped through the cracks for me. But now I'm aware. So I'm going to read the book before I see the movie. I promise. How about that?
Okay, so I'm not offended because it's new information to me that not everyone knows that. And when the movie, like, everybody usually has a thing with their name, like, I'm such and such, like the blah blah blah. So my only thing, I started workshopping it. I'm Harold, like the purple crayon, and everybody is like, what? No one.
I didn't grow
knows.
up with that book. I didn't know. I honestly thought it was a book that maybe came out a year or two ago, maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
I did not know.
Yeah, one of them classics. Couldn't have been one of them things my parents saw it in the store and was like, Harold, all right.
Yeah. Like, Leonardo the Terrible Monster is one of my favorite books. Do you know that one?
Leonardo and the Terrible Monster. Oh, I love that book.
Okay.
See? You see?
And the sad thing about
then
it is I spilled a whole cup of orange juice on it.
Oh. Well, they made the book even more terrible, I think.
It did. That's a terrible story.
Was
But anyway, my sister-in-law, she named her son Leonardo. And I was like, oh, like the Terrible Monster, right? And then she's like, I don't know what that is.
Right. I think that's a great segue because the way that Aura first heard about you is through your amazing book series, Viva Durant.
Ooh.
And she actually prepared some questions to ask you about the book. So this is our segment, Aura's questions. All right,
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Question 1. What inspired you the name Viva Durant?
Oh my gosh, no one's ever asked me that. So Viva means life in Spanish. And I grew up around a lot of Spanish speaking people. And then also people just say Viva la France, or Viva Las Vegas, or Viva, what it just means like life to this thing. And so I wanted to make a character that was full of life and exuded that, had that kind of energy. And so that's why I named her Viva. Durant is like a French Creole last name. So I wanted to show that Viva had roots in New Orleans in that area. So that's why I gave her a French sounding last name.
All right, question 2. Why did you make a story about investigators?
I think it was more about me wanting to explore the nooks and crannies of New Orleans rather than about being a mystery solver in itself, because my family's from New Orleans, but I didn't really grow up exploring New Orleans. So my family's from the area called the West Bank. So the French Quarter and the areas where most people visit are on the other side of the river. And to my family, just like Viva's grandma would say, like, that's for tourists. And so we didn't really go over there. And I didn't really understand how rich in culture and how interesting that part of the city is until I was an adult. And so I think my interest in Viva exploring the city and solving mysteries and going through all the nooks and crannies and learning things about the city was really my interest in learning more about my family's hometown. And then it became a side benefit to be able to write mysteries, because it's a really interesting way to write stories.
Okay, and question 3. In New Orleans, is it true that everybody calls each other baby?
Yes. 100%. I have an aunt.
Insane.
Bébé or cher, which basically means baby or sweetheart in French. But like, you're next in the grocery store, they're like, come on, baby, you next. Like, or, they'll call you all kind of stuff. Doudou, like stuff that, like, if other people hear it, they're like, what did you just say to that stranger? But yeah, it's like a lot of warmth. You may have heard the term Southern hospitality. Have you heard that before, Aura?
No.
It just means people who are from southern states, they tend to be warmer and more hospitable. Like, they treat you like family, even though you're strangers. So that's very, very true in New Orleans. And even if somebody's mad at you, they might be like, baby, you better get out my face. Like, they're still mad, but they're still treating you and talking to you like you're a family member. It's just kind of the culture. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is just, oh my gosh.
See, she a New York. She a New York kid. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So we've been listening to Viva Durant in the car.
And I'm on the second book.
Yeah.
He knows the answer to the book. I really want him to tell me.
That's no fun. That's no fun at all.
The cool thing about it is I thought it might be older for her, but she's been locked in. So I always ask her, like, you know what's going on? You know what? You understand? She's like, yes, the grandma is this and the da-da-da. I'm like, okay, so you keeping up. You already know. So I love how it's that she's still able to grasp it and she's locked in. So thank you for your contribution to the literary world, to the family world, and all of that.
I appreciate that. I have been really surprised at the range of interest in this story. I get a lot of grandmas writing me. They're like, I don't have kids in my house, but I still like to listen to this story. Is that okay? I'm like, of course it's okay. And then I get people asking me if it's okay for their 5-year-old or their 6-year-old. I'm like, oh yeah, because I think more often than not, the people that write me about my stories are younger than my intended audience. But I think it's really for a multi-generational experience for parents to share with their kids, and I hope it inspires people to, solve mysteries in your own life and, be more intrigued about the world around you, because ultimately that's what mysteries are, right? It's like digging deeper into the world around you and asking questions about the world around you, which I challenge myself to do as well.
And I can tell, like, creating stories and this artistic expression is just who you are, and I really applaud the way you've been able to do it in multiple forms. So I want to talk a little bit about, you wrote a whole musical.
I did.
I know, it's just brain explosion, like a volcano is exploding with intelligence and music and stories.
That was good. I like that.
Man, thank you, Aura. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, is it the craziest thing I've ever done? Yeah. Yeah, it is. But it's also a big gumbo pot, so to speak, of everything I've ever done, especially the people that are involved in that project. So, like, the choreographer for the musical was my dance teacher forever. And I asked her to come on to be the choreographer. The music that you hear in the musical, because we do it through recorded tracks in the show, that's my band performing in the studio to record those tracks. I collaborated with one of my bandmates to write the music, and in terms of the scenic designer and the costume designer, I just asked my community of artists, like, hey, who do you know? I brought in my long-term friend who performs on Broadway to be the dramaturge, which is basically like an editor for a musical, and helped me develop it. My agent was a co-producer. So it's like really just, it took all the things I've ever done. Like, I wrote stories like Viva. I've done poetry as a kid. I've written lots of songs for my band. So I'm like musician, writer, performer, and I kind of smushed that all together to make this musical. And I was just really inspired to do it because I wanted to tell the story of our people in a different way.
Just to give the folks, in case you didn't know, it's called North, the musical. My understanding, because I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very excited to, it's about a mother and a son and their journey on the Underground Railroad to freedom.
Yes. As a kid, or you could tell me if it's been a different experience for you. I'm actually curious. But as a kid, I didn't learn much about Black history besides slavery and segregation. I didn't learn much in school about like the positive parts of Black folks in the 17 and 1800s. Like, who have you learned about from the 17 and 1800s that was Black in school?
Well, I don't really keep track of what years I'm learning about because it's like 1992, 1959, 1875.
Okay,
I love how 1992 was forever.
Hilarious.
Way back. Girl, I was born before 1992. Did you know that?
But,
if I don't know what you mean.
I've been
It's
learning
a lot
about
of mixed
Native
up history.
Americans and what
especially right now,
the white people have put in them to like take stuff away from them, and like they only have like very, very tiny spaces to live. In like New York, they only have like 2 dots to live in. The spot is not even close to water.
Which is an important resource for sure. So you're currently learning about Native American history in the U.S. What have you learned about Black history in the U.S.?
My dad has been telling me that white men were the only people, they were like the bosses of everybody. So if a white man was like, hey, you did this to me, and he was lying, well, a police would come and like destroy him or like arrest him, or worse.
Yeah. Or when I was growing up, I learned a little bit about Black history, and it was mostly about like Martin Luther King. You've heard that name before, right?
Oh yeah.
Who are important figures of our history, but there were more people who did amazing things, ordinary people like you and me, who lived lives that I didn't hear their stories. I wanted to make a musical about people that were ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And I got all these details about how people escaped slavery, but also how they lived their lives. Because when I thought about times like the 16, 17, 1800s, and I thought about Black people, I did not think about them making music. I wasn't thinking about them loving each other, having families, playing, being inventive. And all those things were very, very true. And it took all of those things to escape slavery. So I wrote this story to give kids like you an opportunity to see us and our history in a different light. And so when the main character is a teenage boy, and at the end of the day, the story is set in the 1800s. And yes, the story starts with them being enslaved. But at the end of the day, like, he just gets on his mom's nerves. You know what I mean? And like, she gets on his nerves, and they have to work all that out. And he's becoming a man, but she wants him to stay a kid, and she wants him to listen, but also he has good ideas. And also she has this best friend, but their relationship is complicated. And all those things are true in our world today. And those things have always been true. And so I wanted to bring like a humanity to our early stories here in America.
I hope this guy doesn't feel bad, but one time this guy was walking with the cart, and he saw me, and he was like, get out of my way. And I'm like, what? He didn't even say sorry. And he was like, she saw me.
I went
I'm
off
like-
on this dude in the store. I went off on this dude. Anyway, we just moved to a new area, so that was her story about an older white man. She just wanted to work that into the to the talk, I suppose.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That's an interesting point, though, Aura, because I wrote this show for everybody. I definitely wrote this story for kids like you to see ourselves, but I also wrote it for people outside of our culture to see how brilliant and wonderful and amazing and intelligent and loving our community is. And I think some of the trouble that we have between Black and white folks is so deeply ingrained in our misunderstanding each other and the negative stories that have been told about our people, that people start to learn and decide are true that aren't true. You know what I mean? And so I think some of our work in my music, in my musical, in my stories like Viva are to show a different side of us, that we're like everybody else and maybe a little bit more magical than everybody else, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome. When can we see it? Like, do we need to travel somewhere to check it out? Is it going to be available? Are you touring it? What's kind of the schedule and where is it at now?
So the musical did a national tour this year in 10 cities. In the beginning of this year, it's currently on hiatus, but we're sort of preparing it for a more professional audience, a Broadway audience. So that's going to take some time. So currently it's not touring. And in the meantime, I'm working on a new show called Ordinary Folks that will premiere in the fall of 2026. So that's 2 years away, which sounds far away, but it's actually happening really fast.
That's a beautiful segue again, because your ability to write characters, relay perspectives, makes you even more of a multifaceted artist. And I want to talk about famous characters in general. And I want to ask the question, who is one of your all-time favorite characters in, like, it could be a book, movie, television, whatever? I would have to go Steve Urkel, to be honest with you. Like, if we going back, like, I related to the nerd, like, I related to this, like, I was always just a little bit off the beaten path. All my friends was cooler, my family, my younger cousins were all cool. When I saw Steve Urkel, like, just a klutz, stumbling, couldn't get Laura, like, all of that, I was like, that's me, fam. Like,
wait, you were a nerd too as a kid? You were nerdy?
I was an aspiring nerd. Like, I wasn't quite nerdy, but I wasn't quite cool, but I was closer to being nerdy. So I feel like I related to him more than I did, you know what I'm saying? So that would probably be my pick off top.
What does nerdy mean?
It's someone who you explain this, because I think I want to know where I want to go with this, but I want to know if you have a good definition. It's someone who's like intensely go ahead.
I think you're on the right track. Intensely interested in a particular topic, so much so that they start to fall out of the cultural norms, so they don't seem normal to everybody else. Okay. You know what I mean? So they don't follow the trends that everybody else is doing, because they may dress differently, have different interests. Like, you know, like you could be a specific kind of nerd, like a Star Wars nerd or a math nerd. Like, you know, it's like you are obsessed with a certain kind of thing, and sometimes that means that like that's like all you talk about, you know. But I think also a nerd or a weirdo is like also somebody who just doesn't fit in, but oftentimes that means that they fit into something really special.
Them nerd communities are the best. Like, I think that's what I was kind of jealous of too, whether you're in the comics, games, certain types of books, communities, like they be tight.
I think in some way, maybe, I guess I'm a music nerd, a jazz nerd, but I aspire to be even nerdier. Like, I'm interested in LARPing. I think that sounds really fun and ridiculous.
We're going to have to, I'm going to show you what LARPing is after. You ever heard of that?
No.
I'm going to pull up a little clip so she can get the vibe of what the LARPing is.
It's basically dressing up like you're in the Renaissance times, like you're in the castle times, like pretending that you're a princess of the forest, basically. Why not, right?
Why
like
not?
People like they go out there and they like do sword fights or like look for special mushrooms or I don't know, sing songs and hold hands. I don't know, it sounds amazing.
So what about you? Favorite character?
I would have to say Lucy. Now, Lucille Ball was a real person, but I love Lucy. Like her character, that's me. I mean, when I heard you say like you saw yourself, like people have called me Lucy because I'm klutzy. And she was always getting herself into kind of a mess, but also very clever and hilarious and physically hilarious. like I always felt like, you know, I expressed myself in a way that seemed similar to her. So yeah.
Wow, I'm gonna have to show you some I Love Lucy, some Lucille Ball. You don't know nothing about that.
If you don't know, you got to know.
You got to know. So I'm gonna go ahead and transition us to the next segment, which is what you know about that. Which this is a song that the next generation needs to know about. I grew up with uncles, with older cousins. When I was younger, they would always be like, you don't know nothing about this. What you know about this? And Aura Young, she be listening to the same music a lot, which is fine, but I'll be trying to show her some other stuff. So I want to know, what song would you pick to pass down to the next generation?
You know, you sent me this question early, and I did some research and I thought about it. I don't know if I can choose. I'm just one of those people that be like, oh, y'all don't know. Like, it's basically my whole library. I feel like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say Bill Withers. Like, Bill Withers just got a and Fela Kuti. We sing a lot of Fela Kuti in my house. You know what? I'm gonna go with Fela Kuti.
Okay.
Water no get enemy. That song. Water, he no get enemy, no get enemy. Water, we no get enemy. Okay, that's it. Hands down, that's it. We sing that a lot in my house.
Okay.
His songs are like 13 minutes long. He don't even start singing until like 5 minutes in. It's a groove. Like, you have to feel it in your soul. And his music is really about like empowerment and standing up for what's right. And yeah, that's my answer. Okay, fine. It took me a while to get there, but I got there.
You got there. And I'm always like, should I give y'all the questions before? But you got to. But I'm glad it was a mix of both. You thought about it, but you still let the moment speak to you.
Yeah, that was the hardest one.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you. We're going to listen to Fela Kuti after this.
Okay. I have one more that's very silly.
Good.
It's okay. Okay, if it's too silly, I apologize in advance. Eddie Murphy made a song called In Your Butt.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Party All the Time. I haven't heard In Your Butt.
No. It's a song about putting weird stuff in your butt. What? Like, put a ham in your butt. Put a clam in your butt. Like, it makes no sense. My friend, he sang it with his 6-year-old. She got stuck in her head. They shared it with me. Now my family can't stop singing it. It's a very silly song. I'm sorry if that was too inappropriate, but I also think it's hilarious, and you're not going to be able to stop singing it, so I apologize in advance.
Oh my gosh. Why would somebody do a song like that?
I don't know.
He's a comedian, but his music career, I don't think it was supposed to be all funny, but it all was still funny.
The silliest song ever. Like, put some bees in your butt. Like, literally, that's one of the lines. You're like, what? Why? Why did you just say that?
Family Frequency Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We went there. We gonna go everywhere, even in the butt. Okay, so all right.
I don't know if it's supposed to be for kids, but it's definitely a kid song. Like, who doesn't like singing about butts?
It is.
And farting.
I hope kids don't start saying it at school, though.
It's gonna be the gift that keep on giving. That's
it
for
really
sure.
Is.
I always like to ask all of our guests for words of wisdom. In your travel, in your life, give us your words of wisdom, but you're limited to only 3 words. What you got, Ashli St. Armant, aka Jazzy Ash?
Kids, I need you to listen to me clearly. Floss yo teeth.
What? Wait, floss your teeth?
Floss your teeth.
Okay, that does make sense. I
let
thought you said floss your feet. I thought you said
let her cook. Let her
feet.
cook for a second. Go ahead.
In the 2 minutes I have left, listen. I did not grow up practicing flossing my teeth, and as a result, I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on my teeth, getting implants and surgeries, very painful surgeries, very expensive surgeries, very expensive upkeep, because when I was young, I could have been doing this for 30 seconds a day and avoided all of that. Like, people say, like, how do you stay successful and how do you this? If you want to save money in your lifetime, floss your teeth today, please.
That's a mic drop moment right there. That's wisdom. That is literal life wisdom. And that might top it. That's my favorite. and you are telling us from the other side of this.
Listen, I wish. And I was like, oh, you trying to make me floss my teeth like other chores or whatever. Like, you can get away with other stuff, but you can't take that back. You can't take away the deterioration of your teeth. It affects the rest of your body and your health. Like, you want your teeth. You want to be able to eat solid foods as an older person. Like, all of that. You're going to be grumpy if you don't have teeth when you're old. Like, literally brush your teeth and floss.
I like my teeth.
Right. You can't be singing like that, Aura.
No, teethless when I go out.
Exactly, because you're a singer. You want to be able to sing and all that. You can't do that
I want
toothless.
to sound like this when I go out with no teeth.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Family Frequency Podcast. We've had our amazing friend, Ashli St. Armant, a.k.a. Jazzy Ash, with the wonderful life advice. Floss yo loving teeth today, tomorrow, and for the rest of your life. Thank you.
That's all from me, y'all. You're welcome.
Thank you, friend.
I love you.
Love you
Thanks
too.
for this. Appreciate you. It's great to meet you, Aura.
Bye.
Bye.
Aura,
Yeah?
you met one of your favorite authors. What do you think about that conversation?
Okay, that was just so fun.
It was.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I can't even believe she made 3 stories of Viva Durant.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my favorite story in the whole wide world
It's a
I
good
ever
one.
listened to.
It's a really good one. So thank you, Jazzy Ash, once again for coming on. Y'all make sure you check her out. Who do we need to have on the podcast next? Do you know a guest that me and Aura should have a conversation with on the Family Frequency Podcast? Drop it in the chat. We would love to know. But until next time, we'll see y'all around. You ready for our outro?
Yeah.
Peace, love, shabam.
FYUTCH. Hello, Future.